Discipline will change your life. Most people believe their life changes when motivation appears, when a good phase suddenly arrives, when they finally wake up feeling inspired. But the truth is the exact opposite. Your life changes the moment you decide to stop depending on motivation. When you understand that discipline is not rigidity, it's freedom. Discipline is what pulls you out of that exhausting cycle of starting and stopping, promising and never delivering, wanting and never reaching. Maybe you're stuck in that pattern right now, a lot of desire, very little progress. You know what you should be doing, yet there's always something missing: time, energy, focus. And deep down, that hurts because you know you could be living at a completely different level. The problem is that no one ever taught you how to build mental strength, how to develop consistent habits, how to take control of your own mind and stop negotiating with yourself. And this is where this video comes in. Not with pretty phrases, but with raw truth. Discipline changes everything. It changes how you think, how you act, how you see yourself. And when you finally understand how discipline really works, your life begins to move in a completely different direction. If you're willing to listen until the end, you'll realize that what you're about to learn might be the turning point you've been waiting for years. Discipline fills the gap where motivation cannot reach. When motivation fails, and it always does, discipline is what keeps your life from falling apart. Discipline is what keeps you standing on the days when you wake up tired, irritated, or completely unmotivated. It acts like a bridge between where you are and where you want to be, especially when your willpower seems to have evaporated. That's when you discover that growth requires much more than inspiration. It requires consistency. Motivation is a bonus, not a foundation. It shows up whenever it wants, disappears when you need it most, and doesn't care about your plans. Depending on it is like depending on good weather train. If it's not perfect, you just won't go. Discipline doesn't give you that choice. It reminds you of your commitments, even when your mind is inventing brilliant excuses. Discipline saves you from yourself. And this ability to keep going despite pain, discomfort, or boredom is what transforms you. Discipline is the invisible muscle that makes you move forward when everyone around you has already stopped. It's what allows you to do the hard things, to maintain focus, and to build real progress. And once you feel this in practice, you finally understand why so many people fail. They stop the moment motivation disappears. Discipline is trainable and accessible to anyone. Discipline is not some secret gift reserved for special people. It's trainable, moldable, available to anyone willing to make small daily sacrifices. The problem is that many people treat discipline like something mystical, as if you're born with it or not, when in reality, it's just a skill. And like any skill, it gets better with repetition. You can start in the simplest ways: waking up on time, making your bed, drinking water, following a morning routine without negotiation. Too small? That's where most people misunderstand the process. These micro commitments are the training ground for your mental strength. If you can't handle the minimum, you won't survive the maximum. Want more discipline? Start with fewer excuses. And the great advantage is that the more you practice discipline, the more natural it becomes. Suddenly, you start having self-control in situations where you once reacted automatically. You build stronger habits, a more mature mindset, and a routine that finally pushes you forward. Discipline isn't distant, it only feels distant because most people avoid doing what's necessary to build it. The lack of discipline makes your life worse. When you don't develop discipline, life charges you, and it charges hard. Without self-control, everything becomes more difficult: your health, your finances, your relationships, your productivity, your self-esteem. Without discipline, you live in firefighter mode, always reacting, always trying to recover what you lost, always running after the damage. Living like this is exhausting, and most people don't even realize this chaos comes from their own lack of limits. Without discipline, your emotions drive your life like a drunk driver: impulsive, distracted, unpredictable. You promise you'll change, that you'll start, that you'll do better, but you push it to later. And later becomes weeks, months, years. The result? Accumulated frustration. And the more frustrated you become, the harder it feels to start again. The worst part is that this turns into a lifestyle. You start convincing yourself that this is just how I am, that I wasn't born disciplined, that I can't do it. But none of that is true. You don't have a motivation problem, you have a discipline problem. And once you understand that, you realize you're in control. Discipline can be built, and once you build it, everything begins to align. Discipline requires sacrifice and hard choices. Discipline is simple, but it's never easy. It always demands a price, and that price is usually discomfort. It's waking up early when you want to sleep more. It's working when you want to procrastinate. It's training when your body begs for rest. There is no discipline without sacrifice, because it's the sacrifice that shapes your mental strength and emotional maturity. You must decide what you're willing to give up to reach what you want. Want productivity? You must eliminate distractions. Want financial growth? You must cut excesses. Want a healthier body? You must control what you eat. You can't have everything. Discipline forces you to choose, and that's the part most people avoid, because choosing means letting go. But it's exactly that choice that brings you closer to your best version. Every sacrifice you make is proof to yourself that you're in control. It builds confidence, inner power, self-mastery. And the more you choose what strengthens you over what comforts you, the clearer it becomes that discipline doesn't steal your freedom, it creates your freedom. The three pillars of discipline: sleep, planning, and intentional routine. Discipline cannot exist without a solid foundation. And the strongest foundation you can build rests on three simple but extremely powerful pillars: sleep, planning, and an intentional morning routine. Good sleep recharges the battery of your mental strength. When you sleep poorly, even the smallest tasks feel impossible. Planning prevents you from living your days in chaos. When you know exactly what needs to be done, your mind naturally focuses. You avoid distractions, eliminate wasted time, and multiply your productivity. And then comes your morning routine. Controlling the first hours of your day changes everything. That's when you set the tone, the pace, the mindset you'll carry until the end of the day. A strong morning routine puts you in command. Without it, anything can steal your direction. These three pillars form the heart of daily discipline. Time blocking and understanding your natural rhythms. Time blocking is one of the most powerful tools for anyone trying to build real discipline. Dividing your day into blocks: deep work, rest, training, administrative tasks creates clarity and eliminates the temptation to multitask. People who structure their day in blocks master focus; those who don't live distracted. Every person has natural rhythms, moments when the mind is sharp and others when energy crashes. Knowing your rhythms changes everything. If you produce better in the morning, put your hardest tasks there. If your energy drops in the afternoon, place your lighter tasks later. Discipline is not working more, it's working smarter. When you combine the structure with well-designed habits, everything aligns. Focus increases, procrastination drops, productivity skyrockets. And suddenly you realize that your issue was never lack of time, it was lack of organization. Emotional maturity as the foundation of discipline. Discipline doesn't depend on what you feel, but on how emotionally mature you are. Emotionally mature people do what must be done even when they don't feel like it. Emotionally immature people let their feelings dictate. Everything: I'm not in the mood, I'm tired, I don't know where to start. That mindset destroys any progress. Emotional maturity is understanding that feeling something doesn't mean acting on it. You can be tired and still follow your routine. You can be unmotivated and still stick to your plan. You can be insecure and still keep going. That's self-mastery, one of the most important pillars for building a strong, stable, purpose-driven life. The interesting thing is that emotional maturity actually grows when you face hard moments. The more you act despite your emotions, the stronger you become. It's like reprogramming your brain to obey your goals instead of your temporary feelings. That's real mental strength. Doing hard things builds the center of power in your brain. There's a part of your brain called the anterior cingulate cortex, and it literally grows when you do hard things. Every time you face a challenge, step out of your comfort zone, or complete a task you wanted to avoid, you strengthen this region. It's like training an internal muscle that increases your ability to focus, persist, and stay disciplined. That's why people who constantly avoid discomfort struggle so much to change they never train the effort muscle. Meanwhile, people who expose themselves to discomfort, intense workouts, long study sessions, complex projects develop an almost unbreakable mental resilience. The more you do difficult things, the easier it becomes to do other difficult things. It's a virtuous cycle. You build confidence, grit, endurance, and mental resilience. And eventually, discomfort stops being an enemy. It becomes the natural environment of your growth. The importance of refusing to quit the SEAL mindset. The SEAL mindset is simple: you keep going. It doesn't matter if you're tired, if it hurts, if it seems impossible, you keep going. Ordinary people quit when things get hard. Strong people continue despite the difficulty. That difference changes everything. Most people don't fail, they quit before the result arrives. They create convincing excuses, justify running away, invent reasons to stop halfway. But quitting becomes a habit, and the more you quit, the easier it gets to quit again. Those who develop the never-stop mindset build an absurd amount of internal strength. The willingness to continue even without motivation becomes discipline, resilience, true perseverance. That's the mindset that builds champions, entrepreneurs, athletes, leaders, and any person who refuses to settle for less than they know they can be. Taking full responsibility is liberating. Taking complete responsibility for your life can hurt, but it's profoundly liberating. Because once you accept that your results come from your choices, you regain control. Suddenly you realize you don't need to wait for anyone. Change is in your hands. Eliminating excuses is almost an act of courage. It's recognizing where you sabotage yourself, where you let focus slip, where discipline, planning, or self-control were missing. This kind of honesty can be uncomfortable, but it's exactly what gives you your power back. When you stop blaming the world, you finally start building your own path. Full responsibility gives you full freedom. If the problem is you, the solution is also you. Nothing depends on luck, motivation, or external circumstances anymore. Everything is built through your habits, your daily progress, and your mindset. And when that realization hits your life, truly begins to change. In the end, everything you want depends less on how you feel and more on what you decide. Discipline doesn't arrive out of nowhere. It's built day after day through small choices that may seem insignificant, but shape your mental strength like iron and fire. Now the question is simple. What will you do with all of this? Will you let this message pass, or will you turn it into the turning point of your life? Look at your routine, your habits, your excuses. What can you change today? What do you need to let go of? Where have you been hiding from discomfort? And most importantly, who do you want to be 1 year from now? A year goes by fast, but discipline has the power to completely transform who you'll be when it arrives. It all starts with one decision: stay the same, or take full responsibility and build the strongest version of yourself. If this message helped you in any way, if it made you think, reflect, or gave you even a slight push to finally take action, then it has already fulfilled its purpose. But don't stop here. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and keep following the next videos. Every new piece of content is a new opportunity to grow, evolve, and reinforce the mindset that will take you to the next level. The journey is just beginning.